Is the Echo Dot 3rd Gen actually worth buying for the right kind of user? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've been using the Echo Dot for a couple of months now, and while it's not a groundbreaking device, I've definitely found it to be quite useful. If you're considering picking one up, or you're just curious about smart speakers, I'd love to share my thoughts about this little device. I've gotta say, when I first got the Echo, I was a bit skeptical about its physical design. It's really small. It's essentially a tiny sphere with the speaker grills on the front and a simple LED light on top. But the compact size is actually a major plus in my book, because it can seamlessly fit into any room in your home, and it's not hard to move around if you need to. And, on top of that, the sound quality is actually pretty surprising. When I compare it to my Echo Dot Gen 2, I feel like this generation has a bit more oomph to it, and the audio is clear and crisp even at higher volumes. One thing that really stands out about the Echo Dot is its compatibility with Alexa. I mean, at this point, Alexa pretty much has millions of skills and integrations available, from music streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music to voice-controlled timers and reminders, to even just checking the weather or news. Really, anything you could possibly want to accomplish with your voice is probably covered by the Echo Dot. And I have to say, I've made a conscious effort to avoid using my phone as much, now that I have the Echo. For example, setting the timer for cooking dinner, or asking what the traffic's like before heading out the door are just two simple things that I can do with ease. Another thing I think is worth mentioning is Alexa's seamless integration with Amazon Prime. As a Prime member, I can ask Alexa to play whatever track I want, and I even get access to all the Prime Music benefits, but that's a whole other story. Let's just say that I've been spending a lot more time binging music playlists and whatnot, now that I can ask Alexa to just start playing whatever I want. Now, one of the more interesting aspects of the Echo is how seriously it takes user privacy. I mean, even though I'm just using it for some fairly basic stuff, I'm aware that there are certain users out there who would have more sensitive conversations or even just want a bit more security. The good news is that the Echo Dot is built with multiple layers of protection, so you don't have to worry about your personal conversations being recorded or shared in any way. When it comes to practical use cases, I've found the Echo to be really useful for things like setting alarms, making hands-free calls, and even just general household tasks. For instance, giving someone in your home a hands-free heads-up about dinner's ready, or just reminding you to turn off the stove when you leave the house. And at the end of the day, it's these kinds of tiny moments that really make the Echo Dot worthwhile. Of course, like with any product, there are some potential drawbacks to consider. For one, while the Echo Dot is a relatively affordable device, it does still come with a price tag, so if you're not planning on using all the features or you're on a tight budget, it might just not be worth it. Another thing that bothers me is that, occasionally, Alexa can get a bit picky about recognizing my voice or just not picking up the commands I'm trying to give, but hey, it's not a deal breaker, and I'm pretty sure these kinds of issues fade away as the tech improves. In my opinion, this little Echo Dot is just one of those useful tools that's hard to imagine living without, if only because of the sheer convenience and flexibility it offers. I reckon it's a fair bet that, especially if you're already heavily invested in the smart home ecosystem or are just generally curious about this kind of tech, the Echo is probably a shrewd purchase at this price point. And I've gotta say, I'm really excited to see how Amazon's going to continue iterating this product. For now, at least, the Echo Dot has found its way into my home. If you're considering getting your hands on an Echo for yourself, you can find it on Amazon by following the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.